Yay Media Group.
Hey guys, it's Stephanie.
I'm Trey.
This is your weekly dose of BS.
I am so excited for this new documentary that's dropping on Netflix on February 16th, I think. It's a deep dive into America's Next Top Model.
Well, it's very smart of them to get ahead of it because they've been getting a lot of heat for many, many, many years. I think.
Yeah, they're a little late.
Yes. Yeah, but it's smart because there was going to be a documentary regardless if they were ahead of it or behind it. So I think it's smart for them to come in and be like, yeah, probably not the smartest things we did. And
they've got everyone
Yes.
involved. You have Tyra, you have you have the contestants, you have production. It's a whole thing. I did not really watch
I did.
Top Model growing up.
I did. It was so big. We're in such different time periods in our life because that was such a big show whenever I was growing up. I think at one point in the documentary they said like they had 100 million viewers or something crazy watch Top Model, which is insane. And it was a huge, huge, huge show. But they did put those girls in situations where you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And I remember they would put them in situations where most people watching would do horribly. Like one time they would do have these girls do commercials for like hair care or makeup, and the girls would have to wing it. And I'm sure I would feel like a complete idiot. I can't even go on. Like I just went on TikTok live because we do this a little earlier for the first time in my life. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so stressful. I could never, ever just wing. So I can barely wing a TikTok live. I could never wing, but they did it. And I feel like they were really hard on those girls too. Like it's hard to be a girl and not critique yourself, much less have other people tell you everything that's wrong with your body.
That was just such a whole other era of television. Like reality TV was so new in that moment. I even think about, funny enough, have a friend that went on Fear Factor. And I did not know this until she told me that she has eaten cockroaches. I was like, excuse me, for fun? And she was like, no, on Fear Factor. I was like, you're on Fear Factor? But the things they made them do at that time, it was just it was wild.
Fear Factor is back.
Yes.
I watched it with my son.
Is it on cable television or on Hulu?
Well, I don't really have cable television, so I think it's on Hulu, but I watched it with my son the other day. I digress, but I was like, Cruz would love this. And he did. He did exactly as I felt. And it's like now Fear Factor House. So everyone's living in a house together and they kind of vote each other off you can put whoever you feel like is going to do bad in the
room of snakes.
Yeah, with literally that's kind of what you do. It was really, but Top Model, I also remember the most the thing that I really enjoyed watching was they would do these makeovers. Do you remember their makeovers?
Okay. No, but this was a big part of the trailer, and that was kind of the one part where my jaw dropped. People were having transformative surgery.
Yes. Oh yeah. It was
for makeovers.
It was crazy. Yeah. I think one girl, I think she said she was in dental surgery for it was something crazy, 12 hours to get veneers. And I guess back in the day they had to whittle your teeth down. But also they would have these girls that were just very naturally beautiful girls, and then they would go in and tell them, okay, this is what we're gonna do to your hair. And they would have some girls whose pride and joy was their naturally long, beautiful hair, and they'd be like, nope, we're gonna give you
we're gonna shave
it off. They had one girl I remember who they gave her a weave where they sewed it in, I guess. I remember, and she was there all day. When they were done, it looked horrible. And she was in so much pain, and she had to do her little photo shoot with her head throbbing because they made it way too. Anyways, I don't know. It was very entertaining. It was a very crazy. Tyra would yell at them all the time. They were hard on these girls. Tyra said in that documentary trailer that it was pretty much the audience fault because we kept asking for it, but I feel like you have to take a little bit more responsibility than that because you still push the envelope more than maybe you should.
She fully moved to Australia and now has an ice cream company. Isn't that
really
just a weird shift?
I don't know. As somebody who did watch it, I'm very interested to see what they say in the in the trailer because I think it is definitely, it's a good thing to get ahead of it. Yes. Cause it was, I think especially 2 years ago, oh my God, people were hating on some Tyra Banks.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
They were, yeah.
I'm excited to see it. Something they said in the trailer was that like at that time, if you wanted to be famous, the only route to be famous was to be a model. That was like the thing. There weren't like influencers. So if you want to be famous, you were gonna be a model. And that was like the track you go on.
Well, I just know a lot of the ex-America's Next Top Models are on like TikTok. And some of them will go in and like say it was a horrible experience, very traumatizing.
Mm-hmm.
So, but Travis and I, for my 40th birthday, it was kind of at the tail end of COVID and I couldn't do anything. Like I wanted a big 40th birthday and I was like, there's no way because COVID's still a thing. So we went to Gary, which is this really amazing, insane resort in Utah, but it's very, very small. And it was kind of the perfect place to go during that time. And a lot of famous people went there. Like I think whenever we showed up, they said that the Kardashians had just left. So, and I remember sitting there at dinner or like maybe breakfast or dinner one, because it's small. I mean, I think there are maybe, I could be wrong, maybe 20 rooms and the whole thing. It's very, very, very small and boutique. And Winnie, I think her name's is it Winnie Harlow? I forget, but like a huge
was she
model
a Next
now.
Top Model?
I believe she was. I think she got her start from there. Yes.
Oh, interesting.
She was there, and she's huge at the time. But yeah, so that's my only like little. There was also a Tulsa girl that was on Top Model. I think she won, but I don't think anything really happened for her because I would see her at the big Tulsa hot spot called Suede on a random Thursday, Friday, Saturday night because I went all 3 nights back in my early 20s. So I think like everything else, some people really are able to maximize their moments, but a lot of the girls. I don't know. Besides her, like she was on Victoria's Secret, like fashion show.
I feel like with every competition show like that, it's always like the first few seasons they make it big. Cause like I could not tell you who won American Idol in the last 10 years.
No, but I don't watch American Idol really anymore
but like
either. But
Kelly Clarkson was big when that was a big, all these shows, like the first few seasons, those winners kind of they go pretty far, but after that, like I didn't realize that Benson Boone.
Do you remember Clay Aiken?
Clay Aiken, yes, that man was straight for the longest time.
Do you remember when what his fans would call him?
No,
they would call him. They were his Claymates. If you were a Clay Aiken fan, I remember people would go to his like little concerts that he did, and they would they called themselves Claymates. Yes,
I love that.
It's kind of cute.
Jordan and I were at a bar in New York a few months ago, and we actually ran into this guy a few times. But we kept seeing David Archuleta everywhere, and I kept trying to get Jordan to go talk to him, and he wouldn't.
Hey, David Archuleta, he was American Idol. Okay,
yeah.
See?
He was like top 5.
It's so crazy.
Benson Boone was on American Idol.
Yes, and he was smart because I think what he did, I've seen his now because they show it all the time on TikTok. Like I've seen his little clip. But I think he kind of dropped out. I think he was like, okay, I'm probably going to maybe possibly win this thing and I would have better luck outside of it.
So their contracts, if you win, are brutal. They own you. So you're probably smart to drop out. Actually, funny enough, I was at home during the snowstorm and there's a new season on. So I was like, there's nothing else to watch. I'll watch that because I've watched everything on Netflix at this point. And I'm watching it and they start to play the trailer for next week's episode. And I hear this very familiar voice. And I was like, who is that? And I rewind and it's Brittany Bateman from Real Housewives of Salt Lake City is on American Idol. And I was like, what in the world?
Like auditioning?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Well, she's there with her daughter. And so I immediately take a video of it, send it to a group of friends, and they were like, what in the world is she doing there? And I was like, actually, this is probably really smart because Real Housewives of Salt Lake City is very much a cultural moment right now, and American Idol is not.
Who is she? I don't know who she is.
She's the really annoying one that keeps dating Jared Osmond.
See, I don't watch it, so I don't know. Like, is
She
current?
yes, she's currently on.
Okay.
This is her second or third season, second season, I think. She is so wildly insufferable, but she keeps the show moving along and it's great. I watched the third part of the reunion and she did a whole walk off and no one chased after her.
They were like, "We'll see you later."
Yeah. Just kind of
Bye.
waved and that was the end of her. And then Meredith and Mary are having a pretty good but serious conversation. And Brittany walks in front of the camera and takes her seat and then picks up where she left off. And they were all just like, what? It was really funny. So she's really cringy, but she knows it. And she kind of makes that her thing. So she's on American Idol and that makes me really happy for her. But on that note, we got to pause real quick. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. Stephanie, how did you survive in the snowstorm?
Okay, well, let's just be honest. We record a little ahead of time. It is still a snowstorm outside. I mean, it's at the telltale end of it.
For me, it's past.
Yes, but for y'all, it is past. But for us, I'm out of town for a few weeks, so we are kind of going a little ahead of the time. I mean, I survived. I thankfully have my husband who has the same vehicle as you, and he's also an extremely good driver. I don't drive in this, but Travis did. So the first night, both of our kids had spent the night before the snowstorm, so we're kind of stuck at their friend's house. So I was like, Travis, it's just you and I. And he said, what do you want to do? And I think he thought I was going to be like, oh, let's just watch some movies at home. And I was like, actually, I would like to go somewhere and hang out and grab a drink. So we live by a million different hotels. So we went and just hung out, had so much fun. He let me drink. He was more my DG. I think I probably annoyed him at the end of the day because at the end of the day we went to a hotel, got food, and then we went to, and I'm not a big drinker, so 3 drinks and I'm done. I'm cooked. I'm I've perfect amount for me. So then we passed this little pizza place, pizza and cocktails, I forget what it's called, on the way back. And Travis was like, do you want to go in here? Because I kept saying, oh, that looks like a fun little college place to go to.
Wait, is it the new Katy Trail concept?
I think it's like Katy. It has a little dog thing.
Yes.
It was so fun.
I know exactly.
Yes.
Okay, I've been trying to figure out where you went. Yeah, that place is brand new. They just made it look old.
Okay, so they were open. And it was kind of like at the very beginning. So people weren't totally snowed in at the time because it was packed. When I say and also there's a lot of high rises. So I bet you a lot of people just probably walked across the street. Mm-hmm. So we went there, sat at the bar, watched when I say Travis was invited by 3 people to watch the Mavericks game. And I'm like, what in the world? That is I would never want to do that. Drive downtown and be in really bad traffic.
No.
That would be horrible. So he was like, no, I'd rather spend time with you. I was like, that is so romantic. You're definitely getting laid tonight. But so we went there and I had my favorite Moscow Mule, my 3rd one of the night. And then I ran into the sweetest girls ever. And they were, I think, in college or freshly out of college. And I don't know if they were all single, but I know a few of them were. And then I decided to give them my love life advice.
Which is one of her drunk staples.
Yes, it really is. I'm if I find girls that I feel like, okay, y'all have everything going for you. You're fabulous. You're adorable. We are in this bar right now with a bunch of men that probably don't even know how fabulous you are. I'm going to give you my life advice. Yeah. As a girl who,
after 3 drinks, she's like, I'm going to inspire the youth of America.
Yes,
right
I am.
now.
At one point they were like, would you come and talk to our friend group? And I said, absolutely. Yes.
Give a keynote speech.
Yeah. I was literally a TED Talk by what not to do whenever you are. I was like, this is what you do.
And what's rule number 1?
Somebody who is, I'll tell you, these are mine. People may disagree, but if you listen and you're like, these are good advice. This is what I would tell my daughter.
Rule number 1, she drove into me when I was dating. And it was?
Oh, don't give the cow. They're not going to buy the cow if they get the milk for free. I told the girls, I said, listen, I know you're fun. You're hot. You're in your 20s. I know you probably had sex before. And if not, then good for you. Save it for marriage like Jesus would like. But if you've already done it and you like this guy and he's a good looking guy, and don't sell the cow if they can buy the milk for free. Because I said, I've always lived this way. And I really think there's something to it. First of all, because I'm not a hoe and I did not want like a really big number of like people I've slept with. Okay.
That's and you're living one. Proof that
I'm 100%. I like what I'm saying works. Travis proposed within 6 months. Like within 6 months of meeting me, he was on one knee in Hawaii. Like I know what I'm talking about. Okay. And that's how I got the girls. They were like, how did you meet? I said, oh, he proposed within 6 months. And then they were all ears. They were like, tell me the ways. I said, okay, I'm going to, but you have to pay attention and use this in your life. Like, do not, anyways. I even had mothers on my TikTok saying, oh my gosh, thank you for talking to my, like my daughter met you, said you were lovely last night. I was like, you have no idea the kind of service I gave you as a mother. Like, so good. And I was like, so I said, even with Travis, whenever we started dating, and I had to drive in, like I had to stay with him because I lived in Tulsa. I would not, like I would stay at his house, but I told him from the very beginning, I said, listen, I want to get to know you, but I also like sex is something that I do with people that I love, not with people that I like. So I would like to get to know you. I would like to fall in love with you. And I was like, just don't, like I'm staying here and I don't want to be pressured into something I'm not comfortable doing. So I said, like minimum, I'm not going to sleep with you for a few months. Like just don't even expect it because it's not going to happen. And you know what? I didn't. And he was in love with me by the time we had sex. That's very, very important. Number one is like, just don't give it up right away, because I feel like for girls, it's very different. Boys will probably sleep with anything, with a pulse, right? Girls, we should be pickier, because I think girls, you start getting feelings. Like it's hard emotionally. At least for me, I've always had a hard time. So I would never be able to separate it. I could never be a hoe. Never, not even when I was young. And I know we're not supposed to hoe shame, but I would never be one. I'm just nothing wrong if you are, just not for me. Okay. And then number two, and I truly believe this, and this is something I did do that I said, I regret. Never, ever, ever move in with a guy if you want to get married before you're at least engaged. And I've done that before. And it's kind of the same thing as I go back to, why are people going to buy the cow if they get the milk for free? Like, why would somebody marry you if they're getting all the perks of being married without the commitment, right? Like you're living with them, you're sharing a bed with them, you're cooking for them, you're cleaning, like, what is there left to really explore besides have children? So I had lived with somebody in the past because I was in an apartment and this guy had a house, and I was like, this is fabulous. I can save some money. And it's great. I'm here every night anyway. Why not?
This relationship is so frugal for me.
This is great. I am just going to be able to buy a house eventually. And I did. But do not live with somebody before you're married, is my second thing.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to pause you right there. We have to take a break real quick, and then we will come right back for rule number 3. All right, Stephanie, what is rule number 3?
Hold on. I have to think about I was on a tangent the other day.
I have to tell you, before you get to rule number 3, I took your advice, and I was engaged within a year.
Yes, I'm telling you, it works. What was the best advice I gave you? Oh my gosh, my last advice, and the most important one, this is what I actually started out with, and this is how they were like all ears. I said, listen, ladies, I know there are a lot of hot boys out here, okay? There's a bunch of them. I know, it's Dallas. I said, but as your mom who's not your mom, best piece of advice I got is when I was in college, I think it was either my mom or my friend's mom told me that I was like, you have to be super, super, super picky of who you date. Do not date somebody that you do not think would be a good partner, like a good husband, because who you date eventually is going to be who you marry. And you can catch feelings for a big loser and be so deep into it that it's hard to pull yourself out of. And you can think, oh, I can change this man. Oh, this man will, be better once we're married. And people really don't change. So I was like, so be careful. Like, even if it's a hot man, If he is a hot, lazy man who has a bunch of flaws that you don't like, red flags everywhere, do not date him. Like, do not. It's not worth it because you eventually may marry that man and then you will not have a great life. Like, he will not be the person you want. And even though you knew that from the beginning, you're stuck because you eventually slept with him and, got those feelings I was talking about.
We were talking about this the other day. There is a study that shows the number one reason that people under the age of 40 get divorced right now is because themselves and their partner have different motivations and goals in life. And that's a real thing. I have a friend that got divorced because her husband just kind of gave up. And like, he didn't need to work, so he didn't. But that was very unattractive, that he just sat at home all day. So that's a very important thing. I think the best advice you gave me that worked was they will not buy the cow if you give the milk for free.
Yes, because he was a hoe. I mean,
I was really... not. No, but with Zach, I was like, I'm gonna wait first. I also I feel like you told me this, to like build a friendship before you build a relationship, because you'll see more authenticity in the friendship than you will in the relationship. In the relationship, you're putting your best foot forward. With the friendship, you're kind of getting the raw, honest truth.
Oh, and number one is, and I told you this before, like, you will think the guy's amazing when you date him, but I think you truly don't get a feel for who somebody is until you have your first fight. A first fight is, I think, the biggest predicament, like prediction of your life, because somebody who fights unfairly is going to be a miserable person to be married to or to be with. So I think how somebody goes about their first fight, like, do they, are they childish? Do they call
fight or
names?
flight?
Do they throw things? I mean, you can tell a lot about how somebody is whenever there's like
a moment of tension.
You can really, really, really tell. And like I said, I mean, Trey, I told him my secret rules. He was, married right away. But I do. Travis and I, like, he had to really get to know me. He had to put a lot of effort into getting to know me because he had to drive to Oklahoma or I had to come here. So I feel like there was a lot of effort being put into each other, and you really have to pour into each other when you do wait to be intimate, because you have to get to know each other. I think a lot of people are intimate before they actually get to know the person.
That was another good piece of advice that she gave you. She's like, you have to learn how to fight with your partner. That's a very important piece of a relationship. Zach and I got in a fight last night because I have been stuck inside. I haven't been stuck inside once, but I feel like I've been stuck inside for a week. Meanwhile, I've left every single day. But I wanted to go to a restaurant, and because I wanted a chicken fried steak, and he was like, can we get it to go at home? And I was like, I've been stuck here all week. But we worked through that. Did
you go to the restaurant?
Well, I did, and picked it up.
Oh, that's what he's like, you can get out and pick it up and bring it back to me. That's so sweet. But but those girls, I gave them very good advice. So if you are listening and you're a mom of a daughter and you're like, she needs to hear these pearls of wisdom.
Find a Moscow Mule and find Stephanie, and you're good to go.
Let me know. TED Talks for free. Yes.
Yeah. I have to tell you, I feel like I was really well prepared for the snowstorm because your house in Montana is at the top of a mountain, and that mountain is not always de-iced. And I was like, if I can handle that, I can handle Inwood Road in Dallas. And sure enough, did great. I'll tell you, the one thing that I feel like is always the problem during these snowstorms is people, it's not that you don't know how to drive.
It's everyone else.
It's that you have these people that act like there's no snow on the road or no ice on the road, and they're just hauling 40 miles an hour. Like, what are you doing? It's crazy. And then there's me who's going like 15 in my little 4-wheel drive, but you have a Camry that's just like on a mission. It's crazy.
So Travis and I went to the worst movie I've ever seen in my entire life.
What?
A few days ago.
Ooh.
And it was, oh my gosh, it was called 28 Days Later, the Bone Temple or whatever. What? It was horrible. Cruz like zombie like shows. So I was like, it was horrible. I mean, I couldn't even watch half of it. It was so disgusting. I was like, this is horrible. And Chance was like, this is the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. And the guy walking out, there were like 3 families of 3 groups in the theater. It was dead. And the guy behind us was like, what you did? He really enjoyed it. And we were like, that was horrible. So I think it just wasn't up to, I mean, the only thing I enjoyed is every time I watch a zombie movie, I'm like, they should create a zombie movie where the zombies can like, there's like a, cure for them, or they can find a cure and the zombies can become human again. I like a happy ending. Yes. And I don't like that, like all these people that were once alive are now like eating each other's brains. I don't like it. I just want them to be cured. And this one, the guy kind of did he realized it was psychosis. You don't want to watch it, so I'm not even going to apologize for ruining it for you. But there was like this doctor, and then there was this, there is this big zombie. Trey, you may actually want to go see it.
I know.
There's this humongous zombie guy who's like the alpha. Everyone's naked his wiener is flapping every time he runs. They have no clothes on, like all the zombies. Like they just, I don't know. I mean, I'm guessing it probably falls off of them after a while. But this guy was like huge, like Jason Momoa type, like big, like probably 7 foot tall, muscular guy with his thing out the whole time.
Movie theaters are really struggling. Like the movie theater off of Lovers, they have a big marquee sign out that they're playing Netflix movies. And I'm like, why would I?
There's no good movies out. There's really not a lot. I mean, trust me, I had to really dig deep to find that one. I was like, this is what we're going to watch. And it was horrible. I mean, I think it was probably low budget. It had to be. It was pretty bad. If not, they should. I mean, it was, oh my gosh. But on the way home, from what you were saying, people driving, we were going, like a slow rate. And it wasn't really icy on the main roads. I feel like in Dallas, they've done a really good job keeping like 75 in the tollway to where you can at least get down them if you need to. But there was a semi truck flying past us, like going probably at least 50 to 60 miles an hour.
Wow. And
we're in a car, like Travis's car is one that does really well in the snow. And Travis is like, oh my gosh, that guy isn't, because he was telling the kids who were idiots and who weren't. He was like, that guy's going to get us killed. That, he was like, Chance, you stay away from people like this, because one person was like really close to the other person's bumper. And he was
That's
like,
what drives me nuts. When I'm driving at a safe, slow speed, get off my ass.
Yeah. And there were people
And I need like
100
feet. I need you to go back there.
Yes.
Like stay.
Or he was like, he said, Chance, the people who do that, super dangerous, because if something happens, then they collide with that car very easily. It's, there could be ice. Like even if you think looks like water, it could be black ice. And then he was like, also the people who, fly down the road, that's reckless. Stay away from people like that. And then he said, also the people that go overly slow. He was like, that's super dangerous. So he was like, anyways, kind of teaching Chance the way of the world. And, but the semi passed and Travis was like, that guy's an idiot. He's going to get into an accident. Like he is just that's like, don't do that, children. If you ever have a semi. So when I tell you, not even like 2 minutes later, we get off on our exit and there's a car that's like turned backwards, right? So they're facing us, the lights are on. And I see the guy getting out of the car. And then like above it, we go a little further, like right in front of it is that red semi who had hit that car, and the car had spun out anyways. And Travis was like, see, I said, wow, you can read minds. Like, how did you know this? Like, that was very crazy. You saw that coming a mile away. So yeah, like I think people need to learn how to drive in the snow.
Yeah, and if you can't confidently do it, don't.
Yeah, I rely on everybody who's good. I really do. I can drive in Montana because they're ready for it. So I can drive in Montana. Also, we have cars that are pretty good in the snow.
Well, and the roads are built differently. They have the machinery to actually clear them. Yeah, it's a whole.
But Texas, I mean, our kids have been out of school for 3 days. So
I will say before we wrap this, something Zach and I talked about last night. I posted a TikTok about this. Follow me, Trey Stewart. Is there are a lot of restaurants, a lot of locally owned restaurants that were closed this past weekend because they couldn't open with the snowstorm. And no matter how successful your business is, as a restaurant in the service industry or anything in the service industry, bar, coffee shop, restaurant, you definitely don't expect to be closed for a full weekend of business. Those are your peak hours. So Zach and I this weekend are trying to find locally owned restaurants. We're going to leave the big chains alone for a minute to support those local restaurants because they are hurting right now. So if you live in a town and you were affected by the snow, support your local restaurants. They need your help. They need your support because being closed for a whole weekend is detrimental to any business.
Were you guys closed or were you guys
nope,
open?
We were open. We had staff that I have people that live like within blocks and
oh, that's nice. So they can walk
we
there.
sent out a message and we're like, hey, if anyone wants to open, you can. If you don't, stay safe. And they were like, no, let's open. But
I bet you guys were pretty busy too.
We were, yeah. I mean, we had people every day that were kind of getting stir crazy, and as long as we had staff that could get in safe, we were okay opening. And yeah, every day we were one of the only coffee shops in Dallas that was open. But like by day 3, I think it was Sunday. Jordan and I went to another bar that was closer to my house, and it was packed. And I was like, let's go to Pinky's. And so we went over there, and I was like, oh, it's packed here too. I was kind of surprised.
Yes, because people are going crazy.
But support your local businesses; they need your help.
Yes,
that's all I got.
On that, thank you guys so much for listening and supporting. You can follow me at Steph Holman on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram.
You can follow me at Trey_Stewart. You can follow our podcast at BS the Podcast, and you can watch us on YouTube at Weekly Dose of BS. Bye.
Yay Media Group.